Hello, Flosstube. This is Elizabeth from Nutty's News. I just want to say welcome to all of you who are watching this video. Thank you to all of you that have subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you're going to enjoy what you see today. This is the episode, it's my number 3 Flosstube episode. This is a quilting and sewing edition of Nutty's News. So I'm going to share a little bit with you today about some of my quilting adventures, and then we'll get on to some cross-stitch things. I have been quilting. I picked quilting up when I was in high school. My first project was made as a semester instead of a term paper. The course that we had to do a project, and it had to relate to American studies, the American culture. It was my kind of a combination course for the honor students. They took American literature and American history and they combined them together into a 2-hour class and called it American Studies. And so we had to do this project that in some way related to the American culture. And I chose quilting. Anyway, I continued with that into my 20s. And then I still do it today. I do, not very prolifically, but I do a project here and there. If you watched my last video, you saw that 2 of my quilt projects are in my Stitch 10 and 20 list for that challenge that's being hosted by Michelle over at Farm Girl. And today I thought I would share with you my 5-minute claim to fame. That's what I call it anyway. I also shared with you in my last video that I lost my first husband in 1998. At the time, I had 6 children, and the youngest actually turned a year old the week after he passed away. So she never really knew her dad. A couple of others that were on the younger side, 2, 3, 4 years old, they didn't know him very well either. But she didn't have any memories of her dad whatsoever. His favorite season was fall. And so for her, I made a quilt that I called Autumn Memories. And I used fall colors, and I wrote her a letter when I made the quilt to tell her about it and a little bit about her dad and why I chose those colors to make this quilt for her. And then I got this wild idea to send it in as a submission, a design submission to American Patchwork and Quilting. And lo and behold, they chose it. And so in the February 2001 issue of American Patchwork and Quilting, my quilt appeared as Treasured Memories. So this is the magazine spread, and there's all the instructions in there for how to make the quilt. And this is the quilt itself. It's made with warm and natural batting. I'm a natural fibers person, and so cotton prints, cotton batting. I know the warm and natural, I think it's partially polyester. I honestly can't remember now. It might be 100% cotton, but I just like the look and the feel, the weight of that as a quilt batting. I did hand quilt it with Wile-E quilting thread. It's well loved. As you can see, she has used it. It is kind of wearing. She's put it away now, but it is a treasured possession for her. And it's my 5-minute claim to fame. So that's one quilt to share with you today. The other one I want to share with you is a project that is in progress. It's a project that I inherited. A friend of mine who quilts, I think she inherited this as well. Somehow, somebody that she knew, I don't know what the whole story is behind it, but it's this set of applique basket blocks on this really lovely tan print, printed stripe. And they aren't really my style. I'm not really into the darks or a lot of neutrals, but I really like the design of these baskets. And so I am working on this slowly but surely. A little bit here, a little bit there. It is hand applique, and this one's a little bit wrinkly, but let me see if I've got a different one. Here we go. The allowance has been folded under and pressed and basted, and then the blocks are just pin basted to the background. And some of them have vertical stripes and some of them have horizontal stripes. Whoops, that one lost its basket. That one wasn't pinned on yet. So I'm just working on them, a little here, a little there, putting it together. I don't know what I'll do with it once the baskets are appliqued, what kind of embellishments I'll give or anything. But I thought it would be a fun project to just sit and hand stitch every once in a while. I told you before I like to travel between projects. It helps to keep me from getting bored, and just it's the way I work. So anyway, that's a couple quilting projects from my stash, from my works in progress, and my one of my finished items. So that's what I have for you on the quilting world today. Now we will get on to some cross stitch news, which I'm going to start with some of the things that I have acquired. Haul, I guess that's what it's called, haul. This I picked up at the thrift store. It's a punch needle design. It was only 50 cents. And the reason I bought it was this. Whoops, it's upside down. These are all DMC flosses. And as all of you know, the price of floss just keeps going up. I recognized a lot of these numbers, and even in just looking at them, I knew if I wanted to do some conversions, some of these would fit in to some of the patterns I want to do. So I nabbed that for 50 cents. I'm a thrift store shopper, so that was a good deal. I thought the floss will go to use. I might even use the fabric that's included in that as backing for a small or something like that. So that was one of my prized scores. Then I did place an order from 123 Stitch. Oh, ooh, and I forgot to bring in one of the things that I got. If I think about it and I can find it, I will insert right here a picture of one of the other items that I bought. That was the Baba Black Sheep pattern that I actually purchased for my son. I told you I have an adult child who is mentally impaired. He does like to weave. He does like to do some textile things. So when I pulled out my cross stitching and started to get involved in that a little bit more, he said, "Oh, I want to do that." And well, he loves farms and everything to do with farming. So barns and tractors and hay and cows. So I went online with him and we looked through some of the products on 123 Stitch and found that barn that he really liked. So I bought it for him, and he has been working on that a little bit every night. We just kind of sit together after supper and do a little bit of stitching, and he is really enjoying it. And I think I might stitch it myself also when he's done with it. I haven't quite decided yet, but I kind of have some conversion ideas, or actually we're using DMC conversion for his project, and I might either do the called for threads or a different conversion, or I don't know, we'll see. When I placed that order, I also got 2 of the Classic Colorworks threads. This one is Bing Cherry, and this is Go Emerald. The one thing I have to say about this is they showed up a little bit lighter in intensity on the website. So when they came, they were a lot deeper in color than I was expecting. Just a little note, if you're ever ordering threads from 123 Stitch, that's something I noticed about these. I did figure out a project to do with them though. I mean, they are gorgeous colors. just a lot darker than what I want to use in something for me, even if I am doing the deeper, richer colors. The other thing, and I hinted at this in, I might have been my first video. I was waiting for this order to come in at the time. I bought this chart. It's from Stony Creek. And this chart, I could not pass it up. And since I got it even, I added to the reasons why this was a had-to-have purchase. So first of all, this verse, Psalm 119:105, it's my life verse. I took this for my personal Bible verse when I was a little girl. It has an oil lamp on this. I have collected oil lamps for over 30 years, maybe 35 years even. It has a doily, and I am a lace fanatic. Lace is my passion in life, so there's that. There are roses on the cross, and those are my absolute favorite flower. There's a pair of glasses here, and I wear glasses. And then if that wasn't enough, when I started to shop for the floss, there were a few numbers that I wasn't really familiar with in there. And this purple is what's worked here in the flowers. And this is like my shade of purple. This is absolutely, I love it. So this chart, I am, oh, and I did get blending filaments, and somewhere I think I have the Krennic braid that, I think it's a Krennic that does the glasses. So that is on my to start list, and I'm going to be working it on this tea-dyed even weave. This is just the 28 count cotton even weave from Hobby Lobby, and I gave it a tea dye, a tea bath the other day. So this is what I'm going to be working that chart on. I'm excited to start it. This is my birthday month, so this is going to be my birthday start. I'm going to work on this on my birthday later next week. So then the other chart that I ordered, I saw this, let me pull it out of the plastic. Lisa at Kindred Stitcher showed this in one of her hauls when I was going through her videos from the beginning. I don't even remember which video number it was, but this is a Lizzie Kate inspiration box. When I saw this on Lisa's video, I started to search the web right away for it. This is the one that I found it on a website out of Canada. She actually had a buy now or add to cart button, whichever it was, and I was so shocked. I looked at my daughter and I was like, really, I can actually buy it? So I'm excited to start this one. I really like it. I am not doing the called for fabrics or threads. I'm going to do a conversion because this is a little darker than what I really like. I just loved the design of it, and it's got the little buttons, the little snowflakes to sew on there. So this is going to be, well, I'm going to start it. I just don't know how soon, but it's going to be one of the next things that I do. I've downloaded a couple more freebie patterns. This is one from La Comtesse et le Pointe-Croix. It was a freebie that she put out with just in the last week, I think, with the social isolation and social distancing and self-isolation. So it was her contribution to the stitching world in light of that. It is not found under the Be Well and Stitch hashtag, but I will put in the notes below a link to be able to go and download that because it's absolutely adorable. It's a little pink teacup. And then it has a saying, spring is in the air, and some flowers out of the teacup. So please click that link and go check that out because she just has some beautiful stuff. And that one, I just it's really pretty. So I did a little more hopping around on the internet looking for some freebie things. I had seen something on Pinterest, and yeah, as you all know, Pinterest is a black hole, and it can lead to some really long rabbit trails, but I was really happy about this one. I found another website, and this is Jure Point de Croix is the name of this blog. And this is the full sampler, and again, it's a freebie. I've got all the charts here for everything. Not only is there this chart, but there is also smaller versions, like, and there's charts for each one of them. So you don't have to just choose the sections of this yourself. There's a smaller chart that gives you just this right here, this bottom part of the sampler. There's another one that has an extra flower coming down this way. There's another one that has a different motif. I think it's a flower basket that's here in the middle. There's another one, let me think. Oh, it has the birds, but it has a more scalloped border around it. Let me see. I think I can show you some of these without sharing the charts. So here's another one. And then here's another one. And then this one right here is my absolute favorite. So, as I said, the charting for each one of those separately is included in this download. Yep, here's another one even. And so each one of these charts is included in the download there's no color numbers included, but there are like blocks of color along the bottom of the chart, and then you can choose whatever colors you want. And I will also include in the description box a link to that chart and a couple pages on the blog where some samples or some examples are shown from those charts, because on this blog what this person did, somebody charted these, and I think the designs, it says the designs were created by somebody named Chantel Jordan for the blog, and then they were a challenge, and so people got involved, and this was several years ago. I think this particular one was 6 or 7 years ago. And what they did was they all signed up for the challenge, and then they got some charts, and they did their own little project, and then those projects were shared on the blog. So I'm also going to include a link to a couple of the pages that show my favorites and the one that I found on Pinterest that led me on the rabbit trail. Okay, so those are my I Want to Stitch It's. I did start something this week. This is another freebie. This one came from isabrosa.blogspot.com. I'll put the link below. I call it Berry Tree. There's red like ball-like flowers that go on the edges or on the branches of the tree here. And then there's a border that goes here along the sides. And this is what I am using the Classic Colorworks to stitch. So this is the Erin Go Emerald, and then I'll use that Bing Cherry for the red part. And this is just the perfect stitch for that. Those two colors go really well. This is 30 count natural. This is the linen that came in that Lizzie Kate inspiration box. Since I knew that I wasn't going to use it for the Lizzie Kate design, I wanted to change that. And I had these really dark colors, and I wanted to use them since I bought them. This was a red and green design. I thought colors were perfect for this, and this linen is just absolutely beautiful for that. So that's what I'm working on this. And then, last but not least, I have my upstairs sewing room to show you. I've been working on this dress. I didn't work on it, I'm not sure I worked on it at all last week, but I did work on it the week before, quite a bit on Saturday, because I took kind of what I call a personal day. my kids did really well in just letting me have the day off. We'd had several birthdays within 3 weeks' time, Valentine's Day, all kinds of things going on. And I just wanted a break. So they let me have the day to watch Flosstube and do some stitching. And this is a result of that. So I'm excited to get this done. I'm farther along with it than I thought that I was. And oh, yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how this happened, but you know, all the years this has been down, archived, and with lots of kids, I have some Sharpie marker that wound up, or no, that's thread. No, there is Sharpie marker there. That's what I get looking at it backwards. Anyway, this is Sharpie marker. There's a little bit of it that comes through on the front. I'm going to try first with rubbing alcohol to blot this off of here and see what that does. Hopefully, I'm hoping it will come off. If not, well, I guess it's just going to become part of that vintage design element to that stitch. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know what happens. So that is what I have for you today. On an end note, I just would like to say that I hope everybody is holding up well through the current situation. You know, I don't want to call it a crisis because that just kind of puts too much of a negative connotation on it. I think it's definitely a challenge that we're all facing right now, dealing with coronavirus and all of the effects that it's having on our society. I hope and I pray that all of you are well and that job-wise you're doing well, that you'll be able to weather all of this storm, praying that you will have food to eat and the necessary things in life. A friend of mine that lives near Kansas City, they are experiencing empty shelves for everything. Their freezer section in Walmart was empty. There was no bread, no toilet paper. So I know there are areas that are being hit pretty hard, and I want you to know that I'm thinking about you and praying for you, and I hope that as you engage with others in the cross-stitch community, those who are offering free designs so that we have things to stitch and things to connect us with each other, good thoughts and well wishes happening through this interaction in the stitching community. Just be well and stitch on. Until next time.